spells within 14 days. And then I accomplished casting a hailfall within only 7 days. So now there is a teaching that's even easier than that.
Oh, today that showed the Kansan, Teddy knows a lot. Show the Kansan, Yamna Madina, show Kansan, Kapacha, so one Yamna says, said Kundan Yamnachi or Milarepa, they show the Kansan, Teddy knows those things.
So, and I'm also what Milarepa did is he separated the person, which is himself, from the Dharma, meaning that he became prideful and thought that he can accomplish this practice without doing any practice, without making an effort.
Choran Loda, Long, Java, Gombana, Jagaraki, Narobe, Mologi, Java, Marvalosa, Java, Metropolis, some gender that you with Choran, Stigmata, the end of it, some case only Dajor Marvins, and so was on Sama, Miki, Gavata, Dula. Aperdan, Deva Yuvan Baki, who make it to the Namja for the Namja for the Zambaki, one much of Palamashi, now Yamazam Kitchens, or the Lama, the Shamakis, Lama absence. Karang, you can some get at the Lavia, these two channels. Or the Chunati Patching Boys, anybody knows that. Or they knew that reacted on the end of some Marista. Watching on the end of some Maris, Laura Trovolum said that Java Trucanaro, Dajon Mavado Society, Urist. The Chanajiva make a lane dogs. What he not a mixture of the stories, what it's lane dogs. What he do on that restaurant. Sons, Marvin Santa was on the same cannot make it through what it is. Then that's a Konajalat, the Sayat, Amkat Sayat, Pin. Marwa couldn't get him, so some of him be format, but is.
So then, a few days later, then the Lama came to check on Milarepa, and so he said that actually what you said was true. You are really a great sinner, and the teachings I gave you were way too high for you. So I will not be able to guide you. You better go to a different place to meet a different Lama who is a disciple of Naropa, and he lives in Dohulung in Lodak. His name is the great translator Marpa Lotsawa, and he is a great master of the new tantric system. You have a karmic connection with him, so therefore go and see him. And then simply upon hearing Marpa's name, Milarepa was filled with an overwhelming and indescribable feeling. And all he could think of is, from that time on, is when am I going to see that Lama? So he set out with some provisions, with some food on the road, and all he could think of all along the way is, when will I meet this Lama?
Oh, Chiba Mumela, Ketonda by Zone, Nampala, Ye, Gamega, he gave him to the Jantake, La Charave, Dodia, he came to Chapian Ritu, Simpiana, Papa, don't want to see me, don't want me be there. Adding on the Jimarbara, Jantas, can get charged every care to Jantana. Jarvanam Jantana, and Nancy by me to get a duty to be care, and I see who you can try on. Namanga Malam to me, be and Jordani, be for me, shed into Chamajuti over here, and Naruga, he gone to the end of the Lamnachi, Yavi, Yo serve ya bikini Julian Pension Roba the make a robo on the Julian the Shabik and Julian and the Wuching Bojum and Julian the Wama Boton the second Kandagoni for me, Nikechi, but I didn't go by me and want to bend to debate to me. 就上面把这也没些啊，那么啦，新车老就把一切从这里没的，这咱们就被他妈全部先车老把它你那从那你那也帮也给就把个那么这不能那先把讲的嘛那讲上就那讲了嘛不接着说从我把刚接着那个上从一边我讲接着说从一样我把刚接着那个我个边车老让那说车老那说的说让地别出去那小别样也讲说长大了没吃的这小么把刚那就有把事把这嘛就没说出过龙看看的那些那些情况我的这边马巴塞巴有的这小马巴塞巴了这是把没出过龙有把它当出过他给一些他给呢所有的马巴这个有些的这没当那现在这没他们这边的那个那马巴这边都些那没的生意把他就大概这些呢就那个呢那没的上通往那点兴趣上我个万都是我他这公司的然后这出过龙的大可对马巴马那么上报米呢Milarepa que Dorjee Rinpoche naru na ne ta Milarepa Dorjee ne chu se hom chi de na hom chi ni chu de de pe go chen bo yo de sim jian pe ge de sim jian zong jia ban chuo ba sim jian dong er si tu bia ti som pe ge de zong de hom chi chu de ne wa de de hom Milarepa Dorjee de wo jian tuo de sim jian sim chi ta dong er mi ba te ju chi wa de marwa da di Milarepa di som me ke ka se da da他们强势的，让我提升下整体强势的。我这里没那米的，是没办法，没那么样的情况下，这这个用到米他们了，这里钱要小点要几个的，另外了没那米种是可是呢，秋天分享到路去，秋天分享到路能玩一些，这理解说咱们那期些的意思，咱们那期，那不是呢。但马瑞他们那垃圾处理的，咱们这个嘛的，那咱们干一下，咱秋天理解下，咱们去工具秋天在忙不出，生产上去偏学的，我的听出去，秋天是过年的，你去，我听出来我这那米松的，马瑞啊，他们那么地方的，对了，他们那用刚可了，他们那是在叫嘛，他们那从大有嘛是啥意思？这里他们从大的也工作，但他这里新干老着地了，是马瑞新干老着地，我新干老着地，他就那么清楚的，新干老嘛着，新干老没新把起个的，面着地的，真强很说的，强在天边的在康普有啥话是，那个让说呀，杨家中国路呀康普说，我这种的是从强的起，这里这种的是呢，马来新加坡地的是，这到马来新加坡呀，马来人不是的，那所以呢，俺家是话，这主要不去嘛，这马来人不是嘛，就是的，这里马来人不啷个嘞
？Tranquete esse momento.
马来这马来人不是嘛用个，是嘛？对，我那现在新加坡，我那马来人啊，那新加坡不属于嘛？就那马来人不是嘛？在说呢，俺家是的。你们也不清嘛，我俺咋是不是？我真的没来的吧？这咱们家里也来，我觉得真的，大家挺穷的是啊，真的没怎么给钱去对的，抽龙就把个发的做都是，马巴做在我这做都是，出头一把，其他那年们都是。那嘛马巴咱都可以去咱都是呢，咱们那里边出来刚子那在刚才那点上跟比也不穷上，但可能什么事情过从。
So then, so then he went out to find his Lama Marpa, and so that night, as when he was traveling, Marpa himself actually had a dream in which Milarepa appeared, and so Milarepa gave him a vajra that was slightly soiled, and a golden vase filled with nectar. And he said that you should use this. Milarepa said, use this vase to cleanse the vajra and then mount it on top of a victory banner. And if you do that, it will cause a great benefit for sentient beings. And so then he did that in the dream. And having done that, then having mounted then the vajra on the victory banner, then light radiated from that vajra and pervaded the entire universe and benefited all sentient beings in the 6 realms. So he had this dream, and then at the same time, his wife, Marpa's wife, also had a dream that she reported to him in the next morning. And so she said she had this very special dream where 2 women appeared, and they carried with them a crystal stupa, which also was slightly soiled. And then these women said that it is Milarepa's instruction for Master Marpa to consecrate this stupa, and then place the stupa on the summit of a mountain. And so then in that dream, then she said, you, Marpa, then performed all these rituals to consecrate, to wash the stupa, and followed all the instructions. And then again, light was radiating from that stupa, and it brought much benefit to sentient beings. So then the wife asked Marpa, so what does this dream mean? And Marpa actually to himself, he thought that this is quite a special dream that actually is consistent with his own dream, but he didn't tell his wife that. He just said that, oh, it's just a dream. Dreams have no special meaning. Anyways, I'm going to plow the field today. And then the wife said, but you shouldn't go plow the field. You are a great lama. There's many other people who can do that. But then Marpa ignored her words and said, just bring me enough beer, more than just 1 jar. There might be a guest. Bring me beer, plenty of beer. So then she brought another full jar of beer, and he set out to plow in the fields. And so actually Marpa came as he went out knowing of Milarepa's arrival, and he came to welcome him, but he felt that if he would come as a high lama, then Milarepa might not practice well, and so therefore he, in order for no pride to arise, he came as a simple farmer plowing the field. So then he went plowing the field, and meanwhile Milarepa was looking the area, was searching the area to find Marpa, and so he reached this pass from which he could see the area Drovolung, and he asked around, so is there a man called Marpa, is there, I guess, a siddha, a great master called Marpa? And then the people replied, well, there is someone called Marpa. I don't know. We don't know if this is a siddha, but some people actually do call him Lama Marpa. So then Milarepa kept asking around, so he came across a few shepherds, and so he asked them, and they and they didn't know of Marpa. But then there was one, a younger, quite handsome-looking man, and so then he replied, "Well, are you speaking of my father? If so, my father, we had a lot of gold, and he took all of our gold, all of our wealth, and went to India with it. And when he returned, he returned nothing but some scriptures as gifts. And normally he has never worked in the past, but today he's plowing the field." So then Milarepa thought to himself, it sounds a bit like him, but he's such a great master, a great translator, he wouldn't be plowing a field.
Milarepa la me here so of them. The indication they can want pangas on us. What in the charts was. Who not these those.
So then Milarepa continued on the road, and so then he came across Marpa, and he the one who was plowing the field, and he looked quite heavy set man plowing the field. But then the moment he saw this man, Milarepa was overcome with an indescribable feeling. Basically, all worldly, all ordinary perceptions have completely stopped when he saw this person.
Maluba, don't the entry in Balobe, Tarajani to disappear on one book to make another short window, but it's on Gadi, Tangina Pochu, Yamba Chulo, the cooking to Longo, the young, the Tomato, but the law kingdom. Shanghai, Lama, Lanji to Chen, Chibi, came in to Chen to Chang, water. That Milarepa Marwa Shishi with the cheese. Milarepa go to some of these dados, go to some of that. Or the Marwa Shishu, Smith, Chinampa, Marash, Rossi, go to nothing on the horse, then chant it now. The Milarepa chant to Chicago and chant the symbol to pay up what songs. What did it? He did it. There is children to the books, them those that makes all those. Some do that, okay, that is show out the apple child. Around the Shinga Chatang laws and thinking about Chatang law, Jima, Marandia, 2 the Shinga team, 2 things, made charges, 2 things.
And so then he asked this what he thought was a farmer, and he said, so there is this great master Marpa, a disciple from Milarepa in this area. Do you know him? And so then that farmer looked him over from head to toe, and so then he asked him, so like, what do you want? And so then Milarepa replied, I'm a terrible sinner, and I'm interested in practicing the true Dharma. And so then that farmer, who was really Marpa, then said that, well, I do know Marpa, and I can introduce you to him. But in the meantime, while I go there, please plow that field for me. And so then he pulled out the beer, and he offered Milarepa the beer, which was very delicious. And so then the farmer Marpa went off, and Milarepa happily plowed the field, working really hard, plowed the entire field. And then the young man that he had spoken to before appeared. And he said that the Lama Marpa says that he's ready to see you. You should come and meet him. And so then Milarepa left, and after having plowed the entire field, and so the field then was called he called that field that he plowed Tungyen, which means like favorable circumstances. And so then Milarepa joined the boy, and they went to the Lama's house. And then when he met the Lama, he saw the same like heavy and sad farmer that he had just met before. And he was sitting on two cushions and a rock. And Milarepa was looking around and still wondering, this is the same man as before, but where does the Lama sit? And so then Marpa said, it's true, you really don't know who I am. I am Marpa, so now prostrate. So then Milarepa prostrated, and he supplicated the Guru and said, I'm a great sinner, and I offer you my body, speech, and mind. And I request you to offer me food, clothing, and the Dharma.
ni domong ye chu derba tamna sine sanjawa meja chu kiniru la le zong jen niru la le zong la me ona la me chu la chu di gong me chu do go chen nen sorba hu be be cha dang je yong chu kang du ji be chu be guang de xie tong zhen zong ne de chu na qian ba wong zong ne be yang ma chu ne ju be yu ba lian na ba chong zhen rang xian du sa那啥今年香港的呢，什么节不起，那用的什么节不起呢？那么大些节的确定这个，我真的那是是啥真的他的真的他马瑞就那是预测多少有马瑞去这块去有马瑞预测多少马瑞是吧？我真的经常觉得这块开始这在老师等等的新这去意思，但样的也可以讲。多过是这个，就那另外一种不一样，这也不类似。这多过是这个，样呢，就那秋先把秋，样呢也秋这个多过先把秋这那对，这个俺那嘛是，他秋出来用的，这个多过先秋进这那意思。我这了真的没哪里别下开的，这小康哪晓得你，别讲的是要我们都嘛批审，因为别下都强办了活过来是，松是，但这以前的地方特别有挺有啥的上松是。我在这那么年纪别看，这不是啥，这不长，这是我那么。
长把坡的。
我没来的，没被点，不送图片都长把坡的，是别讲你。这老弟他别讲这些特别的，特别啥，是。
So then, so Milarepa cried when he supplicated Marpa, and he said, "Please give me an instruction that may lead to enlightenment in one lifetime." And so then Marpa replied, "Don't go bragging about what kind of great sinner you are. You you were not driven to commit those sins for me on my behalf. So what have you done? So then Milarepa shared all the circumstances and then continued as that he will offer his body, speech, and mind. And Marpa said, in general, it is good that you offer your body, speech, and mind, but you will have to make a choice. So you will not get food, clothing, and the Dharma from me. So either I will give you food and clothing and you will go find the Dharma elsewhere, or I will give you the Dharma and you will find food and clothing elsewhere. And so Milarepa then said, so I came here to receive the Dharma. Therefore, I will find food and clothing elsewhere. And so then Milarepa brought his like a volume of scriptures into the shrine room, and Marpa scolded him and said, "Take these filthy books away. I will catch a cold from them. And they're dirty." And so then it occurred to Milarepa that maybe he said that because he thought that this text contained not instructions on black magic.
that's really some of the Russia. Tene Jetanga on Dabajuna Saria, Mons Maton Sama. Tene Inata, Tene Gomja, the Jetanga, so Jetan Jetan Gom, the Lutes or Chambon, she done at the Lut Chambon, she or the new number Goms and a sword that are simple, now the Chico. Sampa Silo, she got trauma, so they now made up Stigo Sugar. Or to the Ringa, so that's it. Shine for no part the Gumia, Shine, Karsana, Shine Jeton, Tension, the Demi, to Yorua, or Tension Demi, will be Tension, not there you but Tambo to Tension, he got these two. Tension, that Habishine, Madabishine, to Yuri. Or the Madabishine, Karis, and the social media, Tension, and dance, make the chapter. Or make the the kingdom, you know, so G did a jealous on the Vivo or the jealous. Because I do late humble grown who did from Vivo or the jealous is going to our king away. What they do tell the end, you can see the sort of hunting she big on going to our king. What in do what did it say? Stand as she may go to say. Gumiachi, dissimilar, same she was neighbor, same she was non important departure, young have a needed, but she needs to get on the law. What in doing around for dinner? What in she needs as not of Gumianis.
So we stopped the story here today because we didn't meditate the last couple of times. So today we will meditate. So we didn't meditate the last few times because we also have to finish the text in 10 months. But anyways, we're also going to meditate. And so for meditation, you should have a straight physical posture, relaxed but straight. And mainly you look at your mind and you focus without being distracted, without the mind wandering off elsewhere. So we are practicing shamatha, or calm abiding today. And in general, there is a shamatha with a support and a shamatha without a support. Shamatha with a support is the one that we should start out with. And so in terms of the support, that is the object that we are using as our focal object, our support for our focus. And there is an impure and then an impure aspect to that. And the impure is that we use an ordinary object as our support of focus. So we place an object in front of us, for example, like a piece of rock or a piece of wood or any object that you are familiar with. For a beginning practitioner, especially, it is easier to meditate if we are focusing on a familiar object that will help the ability to abide calmly. And so when we calm abiding, what it means is Milarepa actually explained that calm abiding is when all concepts, all thoughts have calmed down and you abide thought-free in an authentic way. So that is what is called shamatha or calm abiding, and that is what we're going to practice today.
Tene tangarang so mixing ti gana semneta si go nam to check meba so to get mare kanshi exam to shine ji pa nam to chun meba so ko sa sam do sha tinga so to ya ma be gang ye yore so to ya ma ti na da se mixing ti gang so semne ya chi tene chenba ma yin wa chi ne tene mixing ti gang ba ya chi ta sin tu sam dang go shore ti du mixing ti sem ma yin ba chi ne wa我们现在提讲是，上上南岛的是用的，但南岛的用的，南岛是说自己是把我写的啦，说提讲系统那这光子啦，那也就说的，但先把原因说呢，真的光子下才把这个嘛吧，所以我这他先把原因把是呢，我这起过去了，这几率真的光子是，加出来评给的也是。
So the object that we use as a support for our focus is a method, a skillful means for the mind to abide. And we should also understand that shamatha is not a way to just eliminate all thoughts. So some people think that through shamatha practice, we can just get rid of all our thoughts. But that's frankly quite difficult to accomplish. We can try to get rid of all of our thoughts, but that will be quite difficult. But rather what we should do is to not be distracted. And in order for us not to be distracted, we are using support, a focal object that we focus on. And so sometimes when thoughts will arise, then you should recognize them and then come back to your focal object. And if you're able to stay with your object of focus, then you will stay in a state of meditation. If the mind is distracted, then you are not practicing true meditation. So the most important point is to not be distracted. And for that, the focal object, the support, is beneficial.
Rồi nó sẽ vô trong vô trong tăng số vô tập tăng số cái tăng số chủ yếu là chủ yếu là sao vô trong là vô phán đoán và học và soạn rồi và但内容题难把所在对说的中文是说学过去难在或者买系统呢这样我们差的不是
Also, what you can do is you can use your breath as a focal object, because that's also something very familiar because we are always breathing. So that's a familiar object. So you can just focus on your breath and observe how you're exhaling the air and then you're inhaling the air, and then it stays inside for a while and so on. And then in this way, you keep observing the flow of your natural breath. And that will also can become a good support for the mind not to be distracted. And then when you're not distracted, that is meditation.
So
then now we're going to meditate for about 10 minutes.
我真的就当他给我们讲的，明白人家这些书教些，那这玩意儿这些书教些教什么用处？我们要往整个去呢，在先进嘛，头发切的那头呢，主要就是这个什么的。就是马来的招财进步工的穷养养公司，我这穷养养公司，这种我的这当个就碰嘛是推穷了长忙嘛，在我推穷了推穷工去长干忙嘛，推提起了，在那头新巴马学我去工体，在原来他去的人那头忙不出呢，我真的这把我们然后这一面手家，我听着去学了，听着在我们家读书多啊。我这期天天早上在我们家，在南坡忙等着学的，这个用是吧？我这对南坡忙等着学嘛的是，他这父亲，你对那个说我们家对南坡是同学嘛的是，他马桶对提纲了，他在南坡是从我人同的是，我天对的上我跑学大的是嘛，这种大家有嘛的是对强了。我开始听到有的，他在说我们长坡街对在，他南坡你嘛忙的，学嘛南坡没来着，像你嘛南坡那就没人了，有的用多这呢这。这种嘛的，这种其实那帮人嘛，那从他的是他所想，自己所想，或者大的事情，或者他这种大家嘛，是没有在当那种，想可养不起，现在这个情况，刚才的是大家我们这边在汤补空在下面戳戳，在里面做那啥的，是蛮来了有嘛，我听嘛那说，我听就是在这里头去过的是。
So if you're a seasoned meditator and you can stay in meditation for a little longer while, but for beginning practitioners, it's better to keep your sessions briefer. And because if you hold your sessions for too long, if you're trying to meditate for too long, then you will not be able to sustain the single pointedness, and you will become controlled by thoughts again. And Milarepa actually said that when you practice Mahamudra, at first you should practice short sessions, but repeatedly and over again. And this also is consistent with what all the past Kagi masters have said. They have said that in the beginning, we should hold shorter but frequent sessions, meditation sessions, because if the sessions are short but frequent, then that becomes a skillful way for the mind to abide still in that short period of time without being controlled by thinking. So then when thoughts again proliferate, you can take a little break from meditation and then resume. So this is how we practice traditionally. And so then also sometimes in the beginning, it may appear as though your thoughts are actually increasing when you first meditate. But that's actually not true. Actually, before you had meditated, you just simply were not aware of the thoughts that you had. And so you thought that you don't usually have so many thoughts, but actually you do, you just are unaware of them. And now when you're meditating, you're becoming aware of the thoughts in your mind. And that's actually a good sign. It's actually a sign that you're starting to meditate. And you shouldn't see that as a fault. So that's because some people do say that in the beginning that normally they don't think too much, but then when they meditate, they have more thoughts than before. So don't see that as a fault. You do not actually have more thoughts than before. It's just that before you didn't actually see those thoughts, and now you are becoming aware of them. So it's actually a sign of meditation. And so you should just continue the practice continuously and being quite relaxed and open, minded in your approach. And in the beginning, it is, of course, a little bit difficult. In the beginning, because we have habituated so much to distraction, it's not so easy to just sit there and meditate single pointedly. So, of course, it's not so easy right away. So now let's meditate again for 5 minutes.
我真正我做工就对，就当先去到点钱那是先明天的，那个那后边忙不下个的，好像后期那发言就个，但真正你把说的，马些老中这种的点后期其实，在了单位内就有，在单位内个就有，我这种多，他或者是咱们叫什么的，可是呢，真正你被呈现出现，真正你被呈现出现呢，你把人就被他们给点就这种，你表现他给我，这样过的，我听的。真正你把事情过的是，别上的是我做正面的在正面的不把汤长的清楚的是，不长的得给通的是我的，这不把汤你不送那的正面是给的通的是，我听的我听哪一个的从我吧，我听的我听那做的，你把刚刚在这个正面了，正面的意思，我说啥的，那我马上就说的兄弟，对，这是有的是。
So when we meditate, sometimes when the mind is too focused, when we try too much to focus, that actually could be counterproductive because it could actually lead to even more thoughts. So if that is the case, you should relax the mind more. But also the mind shouldn't be too loose because then again you will be distracted. Magic Lobdern had said that there is a crucial point, a vital point of the view is knowing the right measure between too tight and too loose. And also Takotashi Namgyal had said something similar. He said you have to be very skillful in applying just the right measure between being too tight and too loose. So you don't want to be too focused, too tight. But also you don't want to be too loose. Or for example, if you're trying to string a guitar, then if you string the strings too tight, too much, then they will break. And then if you don't string them tight enough, they're too loose, they will not produce any sound. And so you need to apply just the right measure when stringing the strings of a guitar, and then it will produce a nice sound. And so, and similarly, we need the right measure between being too tight and being too loose. And so actually, it's not good to be too tight, too focused, because if the focus is too intense, that actually could be counterproductive and lead to an increase of thoughts.
他只能做当然，只能做的别家的写起，么到没现在的我写的那啥的，你他的写起做什么到这里给现在我做的他总上的啥的。
So now we stopped the teachings here, but we're going to do dedications. But right now we are unable to share the text on the screen. It seems.
Warriors, holy, beautiful, precious, kind, true, and living Lamas, divine assembly of Idams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, yogis, yoginis, and dakinis, dwelling in the 10 directions, please hear my prayer. May the virtues collected in the 3 times by Matso and all centuries in samsara and nirvana, in the inherent root of virtue, not result in the 8 worldly concerns. The 4 causes of samsara or river, the Shavaka or Pratika Buddha. May all mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who take me in mind, obstructors of harm, mystery, maras, in the horns of divinity, experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and safely attain Sabba's perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. By the power of the express of virtue, may I penetrate all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May attachment to fame, reputation, power, honor, and concern for this life not arise from even a moment. May my mind straight be washed by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhisattva, and through that may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of mindless search, in the prevailing clarity of the Dharma. May I, in any case, get the supreme attention of Mahamantra in the time of death or in the bardo.
Yeah, okay. 现在我在怎么这些些事情啊？说在这里在查什么？在听中菜啊？说这些把这上同样我的吃肉嘛，什么的，我听的公他中菜的把这上同样我的吃穷嘛，什么的要我去，我现在公他时间嘛，这在实在去一次什么。
Thank you, everybody. Then we stopped the event here for today. Also apologize for our technical problems we've had with the Zoom today, with like having I guess two different images appear on the screen. It didn't really work, but anyways, next time we're gonna try better.
Okay, thank you. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
不支持。
谢谢。